In this video, we're going to be comparing FSD 12.3.3 with 12.3.6, and we're going to see how there's going to be a 22% improvement between the two versions. So you know me, I love numbers, so I went ahead and analyzed the different situations as you can see here, and I calculated exactly the percent improvement between these different situations. For some cases that we can't calculate, we just handle it as a pass or fail or tie. So we'll go ahead and take a look at how it does in each one of these cases. So first off, right turn at stop sign. So this one is 12.3.3. You can see it's approaching the stop sign. And notice here that it lingers at 1 mile per hour a little bit. And then after it lingers, it completes its turn. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at the next version. So this one is 12.3.6. Again, approaching the stop sign. It doesn't linger at 1 mile per hour as much. And now you can see it completes its turn. Okay, so all of these were taken at the same route. So it's going to be almost an apples to apples comparison. So here you can watch the two scenarios happen side by side. And what we see is that we get about 6.5 seconds for the decel time versus 6 seconds for the 12.3.6. And then also for the turn time, I'm measuring it as 0 miles per hour to the wheel angle being neutral, and it's 6.5 versus 6. So overall, we're seeing about a 13 versus a 12-second comparison, so about an 8% improvement. So of course, all of these, I'm measuring it by a timer, so there could be a slight human error in terms of reaction time, but overall, you could see that the 12.3.6 was slightly better in terms of reaction time. Now we're going to take a look at merging into bike lane. So here we can see this is the 12.3.3. Here there's not too much cars, but you can see it merges pretty fine. No issues here. And then next up, we're going to take a look at 12.3.6. Here it's merging, but now there's a lot more cars. And you can see it also merges pretty fine. If you pay attention to previously, the wheel kind of jerked back and forth a little bit. I don't know if you caught that. But here we look at both side by side. And you can see that I think 12.3.3 tend to merge a little bit sooner, but then again, 12.3.6, there was more cars, so it may have just handled the situations a little bit differently. So I'm going to give this scenario a tie. Now we're going to take a look at stopping at red light. So here we can see 12.3.3, and you can see that we're seeing how long it takes before it stops at the red light. Okay, so that's about like 40 miles per hour to 0 miles per hour here. And you can see here, it doesn't actually go to a complete stop because there's a car in front. So we're going to just count it roughly about when it hits 3 miles per hour. And here you can see that it stops much faster to the light at this red light. And you can see that, in overall, it's much faster. So if we compare these two cases side by side, again, I'm counting decel time going to 3 miles per hour because the first case didn't actually come to a complete stop, but we're measuring it from 40 to 3, and you can see that the FSD 12.3.6 was much faster. So it's between 14 seconds and 8 seconds, giving it a 43% improvement in this category. Now, next up is a right turn at green light. So if we take a look at this, here we're going from about 20 miles per hour turning, slowing down a little bit, and then it completes the turn. So this is 12.3.3. Now, if we take a look at 12.3.6, it seems to behave pretty similarly. I didn't notice too much difference. So both were pretty good in this case. And then if we look at it side by side, I timed the turns. So I looked at there was like a speed sign, and then I checked when the wheel became neutral. And I would say they're both about 6 seconds plus or minus, maybe point something. But overall, I give this category a tie because it was pretty darn close. Now let's take a look at lane change before unprotected left. So if we take a look at this case, we're going to see how many miles before the destination it starts turning. So here you can see it turns at about 0.3 miles until it starts changing lanes. Now for 12.3.6, if we take a look at what happens, you're going to see that it actually turns a little bit later, so at 0.2 miles. So you can see that the difference is about 0.1 mile in terms of how many miles remaining. I'm not sure which case is better. Me personally, I like to turn sooner than later. So I don't really know how to quite quantify this one, but I just give this category a tie. Let me know in the comments what you think, how you should handle that case. So here is the unprotected left. So we're going to actually be turning into the plaza. So we're going to see how long it actually takes to turn into the plaza here. So now if we take a look, we're going to see how it actually turns. So here it made the left turn signal, and then we're going to see how long before it actually goes into a plaza, which we'll notice the car will kind of bump up and down a little bit. So that's how I'm counting it as entering the plaza. Now for 12.3.6, the scenario here is slightly different, so I'm going to take account into that later on, as you'll see. But here you can see that there's cars coming, so it has to pause just a little bit for the cars. So I'm going to subtract that time into my calculations to try to make it an apples to apples comparison. So again, you see that bump, so it's enter the plaza. Now again, if we watch it side by side, the two cases, we're seeing about a 14-second versus a 15.5-second. And roughly the time that it took to wait for a car was like 3.5. So I'm going to compare it between like 14 and 12 seconds here, giving it about a 15% improvement. So you can see that they both pretty much enter the plaza around the same time if you accounted the waiting time. So overall, because of the waiting, it's actually better for the 12.3.6. Now, if we take a look at the overall summary of the different test cases, we see that FSD is the winner in the three categories where we did the timing, most of the timing. The other three categories was a tie. So if we add up the different categories and divide it by 3, we see about a 22% improvement. It's an equally weighted calculation that I'm doing here. So excited to see that FSD 12.3.6 is gradually improving and can't wait to see the next version coming out. So if you found this video helpful, give a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.